What is up, everyone? It's Punk Shoe here, and I'm an idle idiot. So I was playing NGU Idle over on Congregate, and I remembered one of these games that I really used to enjoy, and that particular game is called Idlefall. Now, Idlefall is one of those incremental games that it's really in its infancy, if anything. And though it's been around for a while, it's kind of had this, I don't want to say short-lived, but it's definitely one of those games that doesn't carry a whole lot and you can complete the majority of it in a very short amount of time, but it's very pleasurable in that short amount of time. Now, initially, Idlefall doesn't appear to be one of those games that really knocks it out of the park visually speaking, but you just wait until you get deeper into the game. Initially, it's really unimpressive, but it becomes crazy fun to watch those drops get faster and faster and more of those. And when you get to the point where you feel like we'll call it beaten the game, it's just so impressive because it's almost like a complete wall of blocks. It almost has like an ASMR type sensation to it when you've reached higher levels in the game. And if you combine that with the music that is built into the game with its retro look that it has, it's just visually it becomes this really impressive game. Now, like I had stated before, the game seems kind of short-lived. It seems like a short game. It is very gratifying for a short game, but it's mostly because the systems are really simple, yet there's a certain complexity to them that keep you playing this game. So you've got increased throughput through drop speed, you've got lots of manual play initially to increase your multiplier, which later then applies to your idle multiplier, and alternatively you can switch back and forth between those styles of play, and the whole premise of the game is to build up that base drop rate, that drop speed, the bounce rate and things like that, so that way you're getting more and more points faster over time, you know, with like it is with any incremental. But the thing is that you can actually see this visually happening on the screen, and it is so addictive. So yeah, there's some really cool systems that are in play here, you know, increasing your drop rate, making the drops bounce, which is pretty significant in terms of gameplay, but it's also really cool to watch the progression of that growth. There's the, the back and forth between the manual and autoplay, which is always fun because I love idlers that allow you to actually play the game. So one of the mechanics I wanted to talk about was the offline play. The offline play in this game is super lackluster, but again, it's really impressive when we talk about, you know, going back to that visual representation of your points accumulated. So what happens is when you're offline, you actually accumulate drops, if you will, that you can then activate when you are online. And what's really impressive about this is like you see already this visually impressive, like this block bounce and the block drops and these points going up and these, you know, exploding pills and things like that. But then when you activate your drops, it's just this waterfall of extra drops. And what's crazy about it is those actually get that bounce chance as well. So it increases that visual stimulation that you get throughout the game and multiplies it by a massive factor. So what of the restart factor of Idlefall? What's the big appeal here? Well, again, it's a very simplistic system, and I will tell you again that Idlefall is one of those games that if you're just looking for a quick idler, something that you can play over the course of a few days, with a few hours at a time, you can really get a sense of satisfaction. And when you reset, you're basically relying on points that you've accumulated to create a factor, so that way when you restart, you get points to spend on some of the restart mechanics. So these points can be spent on things that cause your fills to become critical fills. You can then increase the critical multiplier of those crit fills, so then your points are going up substantially faster. You've got increased multipliers for idle speed. You've got the chance for auto combos that you can increase when you're playing, so that way you no longer have to have that manual gameplay in late game. It's automatically accruing manual multiplier, which then also affects your idle multiplier. So it's very simple. There's really only, I believe it's like 6 abilities that you can do to increase your points gains, and this is all multiplicative. So like any other incremental game, you're going to increase these abilities. Some of them will cap out, and there are caps in here that you can achieve, and eventually you're going to see a wall of drops coming down. And like I said, at the end of the day, it almost has that ASMR type experience. Like if you've got the audio enabled and you're watching these blocks fall on your screen, it's quite mesmerizing. You could almost meditate to it. So it's a really cool game. Check it out. This is a game that's also over on Congregate. You'll find a lot of idlers over there on Congregate. But this is one of the ones that I truly love to play. I love to revisit it and play it for a couple of days and then take a break on it for a few months and then come back and, start over just for fun. So check it out there. Link will be in the description. I'm positive that you guys are going to love this one. But until next time, I'm Punkshoe and I've been an idle idiot.